Okay, now student, today we are going to discuss topic number 9, and the title of this topic is transport in animals. In this topic, we have to discuss the transport system in human, as well as we are going to compare it with other organisms. Especially we have to discuss about the single circuit circulation and double circuit circulation. As you know that single circuit circulation is found only in the fish, and double circuit circulation is found in human. So when we are going to discuss the double circuit circulation, we have to discuss the structure and the function of heart. We will also discuss the different type of blood cells, and we will also discuss the blood vessels. Also, finally, we will discuss the lymphatic system. Now come to the first slides. See here, the circulatory system acts as a main transport system in animals. It is made up of blood vessels such as arteries, veins, and capillaries, in which the blood travels around the body, carrying nutrients and waste products. Fish have a single circuit circulation or circulatory system. This means that their heart has only two chambers and the blood passes through it only once on its circuit around the body. Oxygen is absorbed as the blood passes the gills. So let me to just open you the diagram so that you can understand very well. See, this is the single circuit circulation in fish. As you can see that the fish has only two chamber heart, one atrium is there, one ventricle is there. Whole CO2 blood, okay, enters into the heart, and from heart it goes to the gills, where the exchange of gases take place, and then this oxygen blood then again transport to different parts of the body. Okay, now you can see again the same thing, the structure of the heart of fish. You can see one atrium and one ventricle is there. Okay, and whole body CO2 blood enters into the atrium, then it goes to the ventricle, and from ventricle you can see it goes to the gills, where the exchange of gases take place, and then oxygen blood is transported to different parts of the body. Okay, so each tissue take oxygen and gives out carbon dioxide gas, then again this blood that having a high amount of carbon dioxide gas or deoxygen blood, it enters into the atrium. So this is we call as a single circuit circulation. As you can see here, only one circuit is there. Only one circuit is there. Okay, here you can see there is a two circuit circulation. Okay, in two circuit circulation, you will see that the heart has two type of blood. On the right side, there is a deoxygenated blood, and on the left side, there is a oxygenated blood. You can see here, and this blood is can also be easily distinguished, because you see the light blue color is for the deoxygen blood and the red color is for oxygen blood. And this type of blood circulation system is found in human. So if you are going to compare the heart of fish and human, you will see that the human has four chamber of heart, but the fish has only two chamber of heart. In fish, you have seen that only CO2 blood or deoxygenated blood is found, but in human heart, the right side has deoxygenated blood and the left side has oxygenated blood. Okay, and one more thing, that in the heart of fish, the blood comes once in the heart, but in human the blood comes twice in the heart. Okay, one time like oxygenated, and a time deoxygenated blood, but two type of blood found at the same time in the heart of human. Now, what are the advantages of double circuit circulation? You can see here, blood traveling through the small capillaries in the lungs loses a lot of pressures that was given to bit by the pumping of the heart, meaning it cannot travel as fast. Means in double circuit circulation, there is a bifurcation. The blood, is to be like transported in a different ways. That's what the pressure of the blood is to be reduced. Okay, and the blood speed is not very fast. By returning the blood to the heart after going through the lungs, is its pressure can be raised again before sending it to the body, meaning cells can be supplied with the oxygen and glucose they need for respiration faster and more frequently, because our each and every cells needs oxygen. So this oxygen is supplied by the circulation of blood. So each cell get oxygen and glucose, and oxygen and glucose react together, they make energy, and this energy is important for the life. So double circuit circulation provides the opportunity, okay, to just flow both type of blood in a smooth way. Now see here, we are going to discuss the structure of human heart. As you can see that there are some points, okay, you can also study these points. I have already sent you my notes, but we move to the diagram. As you can see here in the diagram, in the diagram you can see there are two sides, the right side and the left side. In whole right side, there is a deoxygenated blood. In right side, what's happening here, you can see that all CO2 blood enters through the vena cava, okay, in the right atrium. You can see the right atrium is there, okay. And when right atrium contracts, then tricuspid valve opens and the CO2 blood enters into the right ventricle. And when right ventricle contracts, so here there is a special type of valves which are connected between the right ventricle and the pulmonary artery. These valves called as semilunar valves. So when right ventricle contracts, so tricuspid valve close, but uh, semilunar valves opens, and the blood, CO2 blood, enters into the pulmonary artery, and from pulmonary artery it goes to the lungs. In lungs, the exchange of gases take place, means the oxygen that we inhale, okay, it become the part of the blood, and the CO2 that we are removing, okay, it's coming from our different body tissues. So oxygen enters into the blood in the lungs, and this oxygen blood enters into the left atrium through the aorta, because sorry, through the pulmonary vein. Where is pulmonary vein? As you can see here, this is a pulmonary vein. This pulmonary vein is coming from the lungs, okay, having oxygenated blood. So this pulmonary vein transport oxygenated blood to the left atrium, and when this left atrium contract, so the bicuspid valves opens and this oxygen blood enters into the left ventricle. And when the left ventricle contract, okay, so the bicuspid valve close and aortic valves opens, and the oxygen blood enters into the aorta. From aorta, this blood is to be transported to different parts of the body. Is that clear or not?
It's clear, mister.
Okay. One more thing that I want to explain you here. In the diagram, you can see the wall of the left ventricle are thicker than the wall of the right ventricle. What is the reason behind it? The reason is simple, that in the left ventricle, the pressure of blood is very high, because when it contract, okay, so the blood has to supply to the distant organ. So if the walls are thinner, okay, so there is a like there is a chance of rupturing of these walls. That's what you see. The wall of the left ventricle are thicker than the wall of the right ventricle, because in the right ventricle the pressure of blood is very very slow. One more diagram you can see here, okay, because you are given different type of diagram here. See the semilunar valves, okay. In some books you will see that the valves which are attached by the right pulmonary artery or pulmonary vein, uh, or aorta, okay, so the same name is given, that is semilunar valves. But in some books you see that the valves which are attached with the pulmonary artery and the right ventricle, these valves called as the semilunar valves. But the valves which are connected by the left ventricle and the pulmonary vein, aorta. So it is called as aortic valves. Okay, now blood flow around the body. You can see that the atrium and ventricle, okay, and atrium and ventricle on the left side. Now there are two type of circulation which I want to explain you here. One is called as the pulmonary circulation. Another we call as a systemic circulation. See, pulmonary circulation, is between the heart and the lungs, and lungs and the heart. Okay, see, the blood, goes to the lungs through the pulmonary pulmonary artery, and this blood circulation is between the heart or between the right atrium and the lungs. Okay, and then oxygen blood enters into the left atrium through the pulmonary vein. Okay, so this circulation is also between the heart and the lung. So this type of circulation called as pulmonary circulation, because pulmonary circulation means the circulation between the heart and the lungs. And the type of circulation is there. This is called as a systemic circulation. This circulation is between the between the body cells and the heart. As you can see, the vena cava collects CO2 blood from different parts of the body and transport it to the right atrium. Okay, so this type of circulation is systemic circulation. One more you can see here, that in the left ventricle, there is a oxygenated blood which is to be taken by the aorta and transport to different parts of the body. So this is also is systemic circulation. So what is systemic circulation? Systemic circulation is between the heart and body cells, body tissues. And pulmonary circulation, the circulation between the heart and the lungs. Is that clear? Yes. Did you understand the difference between the systemic circulation and pulmonary circulation? Okay. Now we'll move to the next slides. The function of valves. Yes, what is the function of valve? See, the function of valve is to prevent the backflow of blood. For example, if you are studying like the uh, atrioventricular valves, okay, atrioventricular valves. So these atrioventricular valves prevent the backflow of blood, means the blood enters into the ventricle, then it do not go back to the uh, atrium again. Okay, in the same way, semilunar valves are there. Semilunar valves, are responsible to take the blood, okay, from the ventricle and transport to either to the lungs or to the body parts, okay, but this blood, do not go back again. So the mainly the function of valve is to prevent the backflow of blood. Now again, you see here there is a structure of the heart, because in exam different type of diagrams of heart are given, so you should be aware of all sort of diagrams, okay, because they are going to just give you the different view. For example, here this is the inferior vena cava. Inferior vena cava, you can see here inferior vena cava, and here superior vena cava. Now what is the difference between inferior vena cava and superior vena cava? Superior vena cava, collect the deoxygen blood to the upper region of the body, for example, head, neck. Okay, and inferior vena cava collect the deoxygen blood from the lower part of the body. Okay, also there is a aorta, that you will see like the aorta is transported oxygen blood to different parts of the body. So here you can see easily left atrium, right atrium, left ventricle, and right ventricle. Also you can see different type of valves. This is a very good diagram. Okay, it is also given in my notes. You can just study it. Now the pathway of blood through the heart. Deoxygen blood coming from the body flows into the right atrium via the vena cava. See, you have to know that what is the circulation, what is the flow diagram of the circulation of blood. As in the beginning, we have discussed that all CO2 blood means deoxygen blood that containing a high amount of CO2 taken or collected from the vena cava and it transport to the right atrium. And when right atrium contract, okay, so the tricuspid valves open and the CO2 blood enters into the right ventricle. When the right ventricle contracts, so tricuspid valves close, but semilunar valve opens, so the blood enters to the pulmonary artery. And from pulmonary artery, it goes to the lungs from where the gas exchange take place. And then oxygen blood enters into the left atrium through the pulmonary vein. And when left atrium contract, so this oxygen blood enters into the left ventricle. And when left ventricle contracts, so you know that bicuspid valves close and aortic valves opens, due to which the oxygen blood enters into the aorta. From aorta, the oxygen blood is transported to different parts of the body. Okay. Again, like the body cells are going to get oxygen blood. Okay. And this oxygen react with the glucose and makes energy by cellular respiration. And in the result of cellular respiration, CO2 is made, and this CO2, again become the part of the blood, and that blood, is to be collected from vena cava. So this circulation, is going on. One more thing you see here, the chamber of the heart contract and relax. The contraction of the chamber of heart, okay, called as the systole, and the relaxation of the chamber of heart called as diastole. Now, there is one more thing very important, that coronary heart disease. See, each and every part, getting oxygenated blood, okay, due to which each and every part, each and every cell is getting oxygen and glucose through the circulation of blood. So, with the reaction of oxygen and glucose, each and every cell makes energy, and this energy enables the cells to perform its job. In the same way, see, the muscles of the heart or the cells of heart also needs oxygen and glucose. And the blood vessel that transport oxygen blood to the muscle of the heart called as coronary artery. So sometimes there is a blockage in the coronary artery. So if there is a blockage in the coronary artery, then the muscles or the tissue of the heart will not get oxygen and glucose, due to which that part of heart doesn't work. Okay, and it causes the coronary heart disease. So you can see that in whole heart, there is a network of the blood vessel is there. Okay, main coronary artery there. From the main coronary artery, different branches are coming. Okay, so if there is a blockage, then that part of heart, is in a trouble. It doesn't perform its job. You can see here, remember, a diet too high in saturated fats, cholesterols can lead to the coronary heart disease. I mean, what is the reason of coronary heart disease? So see, the diet, the diet or the food that we are taking, if it contains high amount of fats or cholesterols, okay, so it is stick in the wall of the artery and block the artery. Okay, so this deposition of cholesterols, okay, and the calcium, they make the hard structure that is we call as a plaque. Okay, and this plaque is mainly a build up of the cholesterol and white blood cells. You can see here, coronary artery narrows, restricting the blood flow. So if there is a there is a blockage in the coronary artery, then it become narrow, and it restrict the smooth flow of blood. You can see another diagram. See, buildup of the plaque in the coronary artery. See, a normal artery is there. See, this is a normal artery, but here you can see there is a plaque. See, this plaque, is formed by the cholesterol and calcium, and it just, you can see, narrowing the internal lumen of the artery, due to which there is a restriction. There is a resistance in the smooth flow of blood, and that may cause the coronary heart disease. So if you want to avoid this all sort of heart disease, so you have to change your lifestyle. Means you have to take the diet that contain less amount of fats. Okay, you should avoid smoking. You should also have the very active lifestyle. Means you should take exercise. Now another topic you see here, the physical activity increase the heart rate. As you know, as you are going to do the exercise, okay, so the heart rate increases. See, physical activity increase the heart rate. Heart rate is the rate at which the heart beats. The most common way of to measure the heart rate is by measuring the pulse rate. Okay, the pulse rate is exactly equal to the heart rate, as the contraction of the heart causes the increase in the blood pressure in the arteries that led to the noticeable pulse. Physical activity increases the energy demand in muscles such as the arms and legs. With an increased rate of respiration, blood must be travel quickly to the muscles, to supply them oxygen, a nutrient, while also removing the waste products such as the carbon dioxide gas. This heart rate therefore increase to meet this demand. Yes, as you are going to take exercise. Okay, so of course, exercise requires energy, and energy means there is more a reaction of oxygen and glucose, and more oxygen and glucose requirement is can be fulfilled by the circulation of blood. So during physical activity, the rate of pulse and the heart rate increases, due to which there is a flow of blood. So this exercise just uh, reduce the cholesterol level, and also it provides the fertile ground for the arteries to be more elastic. Now, one more thing is there, that is electrocardiogram, ECG. What is electrocardiogram? It is a device which can track heart activity. Okay, it can accurately measure pulse rate via the opening and closing of heart valves. So with the help of electrocardiogram, we come to know that is there a problem in the heart or not. Okay, now see, risk factor for coronary heart disease. Yeah, which are the risk factors of the coronary heart disease? You can see here which factors are there. Number one, the poor diet. This is the first factor which causes the coronary heart disease or cardiovascular disease, you could say, or you could say heart problem. The first thing, first factor is poor diet. Means if your diet contain high amount of saturated fats, so this saturated fats, increases the cholesterol level, which is stick in the inner lumen of the artery and make plaque. That stop the smooth flow of blood. Now the second factor, is stress. When under the stress, hormones produced in can increase blood pressure, increasing the chance of a blockage in the coronary artery. Now, the third factor is smoking. In the smoking, some particles, specifically like nicotine in the cigarette, will cause blood vessels to become narrower, increasing blood pressure, which will cause the blood buildup of the fat globules. If this occurs in the coronary artery, this will cause coronary heart disease. Okay, so it is a cause of coronary heart disease. Means uh, smoking is a cause of coronary heart disease. Now another is genetic predispositions. Studies shows that peoples with a history of coronary heart disease in their family are more likely to develop it themselves, suggesting it partly has a genetic basis. Means, for example, if there is if the father has this disease, okay, so there is a chance of transfer of this disease in the offsprings. Now another factor, age. Of course, when the person grow older, so the elasticity of the arteries is lost. Okay, so the risk of developing coronary heart disease increases. Now gender, yes, who are more affected? So male are more likely to develop coronary heart disease than female. Now adaptation of blood vessel. Yeah, there, now we will discuss like the different type of blood vessels. Okay, see adaptation to of blood vessels. In our body there are mainly there are three types of blood vessel. Number one, artery. Number two is vein. Okay, and number three is capillaries. As you can see here in the diagram, the arteries, if you see the diagram, you can easily say that like the internal lumen of the artery is very much narrow. Okay, and the wall are very thick. Okay, and they also like have they also have like the more elastic muscles. But if you are going to study the vein, so you'll see that the internal lumen of the vein is broad, but the wall are thin. And why like the here the wall are thin, in the artery there is the walls are thick. The reason is that in the arteries the pressure of the blood is very high. Okay, but in the vein the pressure of blood is slow. So one more difference is that the veins have the valves which prevent the backflow of blood. The arteries have no valves. Okay, so this is, you see that this is the difference. This is the difference between the arteries and the vein. And in between the arteries and the vein, there is a network of there is a network or the junction or the bridge. Okay, is found, that is called as the capillaries. Capillaries within the body tissues where exchange of substances take place. Mean capillaries, also the very thin blood vessels. Okay, and their thickness is just one cell. They are embedded in the tissues where the exchange of gases take place. Okay, so on one side you can see that the capillaries are attached with the artery. The other side it attached with the vein. When the arteries splits, okay, it make the arterioles, and these arterioles further splits, they make the very fine network of the blood vessels which is embedded in the tissues. The same vein, then venules, and then they are splits into the capillaries. Now you can see here the capillary wall is one cell thick. Okay, and the red blood cell in human, you can see that these walls can easily take up the nutrients and oxygen and nutrients. Now arterioles and venules, as already I've told you that arteries, when it moves towards the tissues, okay, it splits into the very fine network of the blood vessel. This is called as the arteriole. And then again, when there is an exchange of gases in between the tissues and the capillaries, then CO2 is to be given, which enters into the venules, from the capillary to the venule and then veins. And these all veins are connected by the vena cava, which transport uh, deoxygen blood to the right atrium. As you can see here, the different arteries and vein, you can see here that like the aorta, we are going to start the aorta. You can see splits into different arteries. For example, hepatic artery, it transport oxygen blood to the liver, and mesenteric artery, it transport oxygen blood to the gut, and renal artery, that transport oxygen blood to the kidney. And there are also shedding artery that transport oxygen blood to the legs. And you see here the renal, for example, the renal artery is there. Okay, it transport oxygen blood. Okay, on the other side you can see that from the kidney, renal vein that is collecting the deoxygen blood. Okay, and hepatic portal vein that also collecting the deoxygen blood from the gut, and hepatic vein that is also collecting the deoxygen blood from the blood, okay, from the liver. And all these veins you can see opens into the vena cava. Okay, and this vena cava, there are two vena cava, as I've told you, that inferior vena cava and superior vena cava. Inferior vena cava, transport deoxygen blood from the lower region of the body, and superior vena cava collects CO2 blood from the upper region of the body. Okay, and then this blood enters into the into the right atrium. Okay. In the same way, you can see the aorta, aorta is splitting into different arteries and transporting oxygen in blood. Now you can see here that towards organ and away from the organ. Okay. For example, heart. If the blood vessel moving towards the heart, so see here vena cava and pulmonary vein. And away from the organ, that is aorta and pulmonary artery. Lungs, see if the blood moving towards the uh, lungs, so pulmonary artery, okay, and away from the lung, that is pulmonary vein. Now see, a very important difference, between the artery and vein is that the arteries, most of the arteries have oxygenated blood, okay, except one pair of artery, that is pulmonary artery, because pulmonary artery has deoxygenated blood, and most of the vein have deoxygenated blood, except one pair of vein, that is pulmonary vein, which contains oxygenated blood. Now see another, kidney, renal artery is there that move towards the kidney, and renal vein that move away from the kidney. So see, arteries, another definition, see, arteries are those blood vessels which move away from the heart, and veins are those blood vessels which move towards the heart. Now you can see there is a lymphatic system, how the arteries and veins, they splits, okay, into the arterioles, venules, and they are embedded in the cell, and where the exchange of gases and materials are take place. Now the last topic of this, is about the blood. As you can see, the blood, contains different type of cells. For example, red blood cell is there, white blood cell, and platelets are there. So 44%, the cells are there, and 55% blood plasma that contain the fluid, which contains so many organic inorganic substances. Now, what are the component of blood? You can see here the red blood cells. Uh, Red blood cells, we also have discussed, in topic number 2, that this is a special type of red blood cells. This is a special type of animal cell which do not have uh, nucleus. Instead of nucleus, there is a hemoglobin that has a capability to combine oxygen and transport oxygen in all parts of the body. Now, white blood cells, which are, which provide the self-defensive mechanism to the body, there are two very important white blood cells. Number one, lymphocyte, and number two is phagocyte. Lymphocytes, they make the antibodies, okay, and these antibodies just trap the antigens of the germs and make antigen antibody complex. And this antibody complex is to be engulfed by the phagocytic cell. This is the another type of white blood cells. So by the joint efforts of lymphocytes and phagocytes, we get rid from the disease. If sometime the diagram of lymphocyte and phagocytes are given, and you are asked just to identify it. In the lymphocyte, the nucleus, is by or tri. Sorry, the nucleus is rounded, and the big nucleus is there. In phagocytic cells, the nucleus is bilobed or trilobed. Okay, and that in red blood cell there is no nucleus. Platelets, these are the segments of cells. Okay, their duty is to clot the blood, and they secrete some chemical which convert fibrinogen into fibrins, and these fibrins make the fibers due to which the blood clotting of blood take place. And then blood plasma, we already discussed that blood plasma contain high amount of water, and it contains so many organic and inorganic substances. Now, blood clotting, you can see the platelets are the fragments of cells which involved in the blood clotting. How do they do this job? They secrete some chemical, and this chemical, convert convert soluble fibrinogen into insoluble fibrins, and these insoluble fibrins make the fibers. Okay, and these fibers, just move to the cut site and seal the wound. Okay, so this is about the circulatory system. It's about transport in animals. Okay, I hope you have understood each and everything. Okay, and you can see in the last diagram, you can see that how, like, the clotting of blood take place. I have already explained to you. So now if you have any problem, any question, okay, you can ask me. Okay, hope you understand very well. Okay, thank you very
Yes,
much. Bye
Mister. Okay, thank you, Mister.
bye.